Welcome to The Arts of the Answer, a co-production of Access Monterey Peninsula and the Arts Council for Monterey County. My name is Steve Elzy. I'm the executive producer for AMP.
And I'm Paulette Lynch, Executive Director of the Arts Council for Monterey County. Over the next 30 minutes, artists, educators, and presenters will share their stories and their passions.
And also how the arts bring joy and vitality into our lives.
It all starts right now. I'm here today with Ellen Martin, the Executive Director of First Night Monterey, and many of you are very, very familiar with the wonderful celebration that takes place New Year's Eve downtown. Some of you are familiar with all that goes into that, including extensive outreach programs in the community. That's what we're going to focus on today. Ellen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Ellen, tell us more about what is happening with your outreach programming today and how you actually got started in that dimension of your programming.
Well, First Night's celebrating our 21st celebration, and outreach has been with First Night at least maybe 19 years. And the outreach is a program where we go out and do outreach, music, art in the community, and then everything culminates to the celebration at the end of the year, because we're reaching out to communities and bringing them together in all of our cultural diversity.
So where are you concentrating your efforts these days?
Well, we're throughout the county, but 8 years ago when I became the executive director, I went to the first fan meeting that the Arts Council had, and there was a county official who went through and talked about all of the demographics. And I was really struck with North County and particularly South County, the demographics, per capita income, and seeing that, for instance, Greenfield is the lowest per capita income in Monterey County. And I said, who's doing what there? And is there arts going on? And found out that there was little going on. Our first partner was the Arts Council with Poder Popular, and we did a poetry workshops and a whole theme project which was called Mi Vida, Mi Pueblo, My Life, My Town.
And that was beautiful. As I remember, there were great posters that came out of that and exhibitions that came out in addition to work that was done and presented at First Night. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that typical these days too, that there's something that ends up at the First Night celebration, you go out into the community, and then some of the work comes back to First Night?
Yes, we try to bring a lot of it back to First Night, but when we engage the youth and sometimes the entire families making art, then at the end of that workshop, we'll have an art show. And so we just had an art show in Greenfield on a Sunday, and it was music and art and food, and it was a reception like a professional artist would have. And you wouldn't believe the response that the children get. They get a certificate of completion with our art camp, for instance, and the mayor came and handed out their certificates, and they're standing a little bit taller.
Yes.
And when they see their art framed, and then that work in Greenfield, for instance, will go to the Greenfield Harvest Festival that we're producing on October 20th. And then it will come to First Night. And those families then will be invited to First Night. And so it's bringing all of the community together in so many different ways. But we also showed the work. Some of the work will be shown next year at different places. We've shown at Hartnell. We've shown at the Steinbeck Center. And then we bring them, the children, the people that have done the work, and in another social setting, and it's really enlightening to all of us.
That's phenomenal. It's so important for all of us to understand each other, to go beyond language and different economic levels and all those different kinds of ways which we tend to be isolated. We tend to think of ourselves as different from somebody else. So you're bringing everybody together in such a powerful, beautiful way is really, really wonderful. Tell me some more about one of the examples. I understand you have a summer program these days too, summer art camp, is that right?
Well, we have two summer art camps, one in Monterey, at our Archer Park facility. And then we have our second year of doing in Greenfield. And that was a free art camp. Last year it was 6 weeks. This year it was 4 weeks. So it's 10 to 3. The kids come in and they have set projects that they're working on individually, and then they're all teamed up in groups too. And so in the afternoons they work as a group. And the kids have learned so much of working with a group, collaboration,
Wonderful.
getting along.
Yeah.
You know, I worked with them and went in and helped teach this summer, and it was like, you know, let's look at all the strengths, okay? This is what you're going to be doing in school and in work. So this person here really knows color. This one knows how to draw.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and it's like assessing each other's strengths. And I said, you know, in life we all raise each other up in so many different ways, and this is how you can begin. And they would laugh, and then they would get it.
Yeah.
They would get it.
And thank you for your vision, and thank you for your willingness to really put yourself out there to make these partnerships happen, to get the teaching artists and other artists together to do these wonderful projects. We really appreciate that, and we really appreciate your taking time away from all that just for a few minutes today. Thank you.
Thank you.
It appears the end is near. Are we too blind to see? Children have no fear. Nothing's left of your destiny. Take me back to another place, back when I was young. Take me back to another place. This world has come undone. We're just going nowhere. So you must pay your debt. They take and take and take and take and take. Take your soul with no regret. Take me back to another place, back when I was young. Take me back to another place,
Hi, my name is Walter Rice. I'm the arts and entertainment writer at the Monterey County Weekly, and I'm glad to have today as my guest artist, Jerry Takagawa. Jerry is the owner of Takagawa Design. He's a photographer, graphic designer, and a board member of the Center for Photographic Art. Jerry, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Walter.
I want to start with a bit about your early background. Your parents, you say, were born here but moved to Chicago.
Well, actually, my parents were born here, and they were relocated during the war to the internment camps. They ended up in Arkansas, and they were released to go to Chicago, and that's eventually where I was born after they were out of the camps.
And they, all together as a family, you made your way back to Monterey at the age of 5.
Right, exactly.
All right. What was it like growing up in Monterey for you?
Monterey was really different than Chicago. It was much more relaxed and not a city feeling. I don't remember a lot of being in Chicago, except maybe playing the ukulele and ice skating. But yeah, Monterey was actually a very friendly town to grow up in.
Okay. Did it have any influence, or did your parents have any influence on your sort of artistic muse or the inspiration to do art?
I have to assume yes. I mean, my father was a carpenter, although he was able to make things. When you are able to just create something from nothing in a way, or from just raw materials, it's a pretty amazing process. I mean, it happens in art and it happens in cabinet making as well. And my mother was always into crafts and visual things that she would build also. So I watched that happen when I was growing up, and of course the house had stuff in it that was also aesthetic.
And when did you first kind of gravitate towards also making stuff?
I would say grammar school. Somewhere, maybe even in kindergarten, I remember making murals and things, painting things as activities, and so I would say at a fairly early age I was involved in making art.
And how did you? What did that do for you? What did that give you?
Well, one, I got to get out of classes to do art projects for the school, which was you felt kind of special, and that was fun. But it was just something I wanted to do. I just couldn't help but paint or draw or do that kind of thing. I was always doing something on paper.
And you, at some point, you found photography, or photography found you. How did that happen?
Well, it was I did study art for a long time at both at Monterey Peninsula College and at San Francisco State, and it was primarily a fine arts program that I was in, and I had an English minor, and I was doing paintings that were what I would call at the time very much based on photographs. They were sort of becoming photoreal. The drawings were getting to be photoreal. Took a class at San Francisco State to learn how to do photography, but primarily to use the negatives to make paintings. And after I graduated from college, I kind of made the shift over to just doing the photography instead of the photo-based paintings. So it was a little evolution there.
Do you know what was the catalyst? Like, why the shift?
I might say that I was in my little apartment in Berkeley. It was after being in San Francisco, and I did feel a little bit isolated doing this painting, doing work in this little space. And I saw at that time anyway that photography, I could be out in the world, engaging in the world, and also practicing something, through the camera, seen through the camera. So it was inviting to get out of the house and not be in the studio, although, there is a darkroom component to photography, the other side, which does put you in a little bit of an isolated space.
Okay. And what were you trying to capture then? What were your subjects? What were you chasing?
Well, in the beginning, I think everybody tends to imitate, but actually, in Berkeley, I was doing documentary, social documentary, and also ecological documentary because those were things I was interested in. And in terms of the social documentary, some friends and I were beat up by the police at one point because we were at the right place, but it was the wrong time. They were clearing something, and I was really upset about that event, and so People's Park happened not too long after that, and I went to the riots every day for a week and photographed the police action during that time, and ended up with, there was a group show in Berkeley and a book published around it, and had some images in those events, and it gave me a sense that the photograph really had a sense of power and communication. And so that was that side of my life. I think what happened after that was that after being in Berkeley for a couple of years, I did get a little bit burnt out on the intense political atmosphere. And it got to be that even if I was taking a holiday or being on vacation, that I would only be looking for things that were wrong. And it bothered me that my mindset was in that place, and I wanted to start looking at things that were good again. So eventually I did leave the Berkeley area and came back to Monterey so that I could learn photography in a different environment.
Jerry, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Oh, no, thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure, too.
Hello, my name is Bernice House. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Arts Council. Please visit our webpage for more information regarding cultural events that happen in our county. Today we will showcase the Tarantella dancers. These dancers belong to the Festa Italia in Monterey. Festa Italia is a 3-day celebration of food, culture, music, about the Italian heritage that live in our county. Please enjoy them. Thank you.
Tarantella dancers, mano dentro. Bella Caminata. Bella Caminata. Bella Caminata. Tarantella dancers, balance.
I am so excited to have with me in the studio today the Director of Patron Engagement and Institutional Advancement for the Monterey Symphony, Michelle Lang.
Thank you, Steve. I'm very happy to be here. It's hard to believe it was a year ago that we sat here and discussed the Monterey Symphony together.
Well, welcome back,
Thank
68th season,
Yes.
season of discovery. Tell
Yes.
us about that.
Well, it's a very exciting season, and where we went with this year for the season of discovery was to think about all of those people that maybe have never been to a symphony. before. And so
Sure.
we wanted to think of how do we get them excited to want to come and discover what, orchestral music is all about. And so when we were developing the concept for the season, our music director, Max Brigado Darman, gave us some words associated with each of the concerts, which I think we'll probably talk about.
Sure.
And we took it a step further, and we looked around our area, and we thought, what imagery could go with those words? And so that, for example, the first concert, Romance,
Right.
we thought, Lover's Point. It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
And so the music matches that. So when you hear that music, you can think of something that is familiar to you, Lover's Point. And
Right.
it just to tie it all together and thinking of music in a different way with, visualization as you're listening to the different music. So that was kind of what gave us the idea.
Oh, that is so great. And you've got sort of a passport look going on and everything else.
We do.
I have to ask you about Romance, though, and I'm sure you have a great answer for this question. Yeah, Brahms, Strauss, but I see Wilhelm Richard Wagner in there, and I'm going, wait a minute, people run around in Viking hats and stuff. But I know there's a good reason for that. Tell us about it.
Well, Romance was a period,
Right.
during classical music, and the piece that we're doing, it's the prelude to the third act of Lohengrin, which is
Okay.
actually from an opera written
Right.
by Wagner. Wagner wrote operas, and so the Romance tie is the more familiar piece in this opera is actually the Wedding March,
Oh, okay.
and so people will obviously would know that, and so is where that all ties in.
All right. I knew you'd have a wonderful, wonderful answer for me on that one. Then you go into the next series in November, my personal favorite, which is Vivaldi, the Four Seasons.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What's going on? What's special about
Well,
that
we're going
book?
to have Christina Mock, who is our concertmaster. She is actually going to be the soloist and lead the orchestra during that piece. And then after the Vivaldi Four Seasons, we're going to be doing Amal and the Night Visitors, which is something completely new for the Monterey Symphony. I can't say 100%, but I don't think that we've ever done a fully staged opera before. And this is an
Right.
operetta. And so, the orchestra will actually be in the pit. It'll be fully staged. There'll be set designs. We have a full cast of characters for this. So it'll be really, really exciting, something new. And this was all made possible by some additional funding that we received. Arts Council,
Right.
sponsor of this program, gave us a grant. The Star Foundation, which is also local. And we actually received a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts to do this production.
Thank you to all of them. then.
Definitely, because without those types of dollars, we wouldn't be able to do something this extravagant.
Right.
So we're really excited about it.
That is exciting. And one of my favorite things is a pre-concert lecture because you hear things you'll never hear. You get the nuances. You have who's working for you again?
We have Dr. Todd Samra.
Right.
He's also the music director at All Saints Church in Carmel. He is amazing. And again, this is part of the discovery process. To come to this pre-concert lecture and have him interpret what you're going to hear for you. I'm fortunate enough that I actually get to hear him twice before we even do the concerts. I accompany him to some special groups where we do the lectures. And so
okay.
he is just amazing. And
Yes.
he puts it in plain terms
Right.
so that anybody can understand it, and he brings it to life for you. He might play an excerpt during the lecture and then explain about that. He'll tell you about the composer, the period of time, and what was going on when this was written, and the things that maybe some of these composers had to contend with. That's wrong. Anyway, so he'll explain all of that to you, and it really does make the music more meaningful. And we also do have program notes in our program each time. So,
Sure.
that's in addition to that lecture, and you could really, really understand more about what you're hearing.
It just makes it so much more meaningful, so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Now, February, Innovations. Did I get that one right?
Innovation.
But a different way of approaching innovation. Not the way I was thinking at first. It's different forms of innovation, or what? Melodies, harmonies,
It's the
diversity.
piano piece, the piano concerto that our soloist Kung-Woo Pike is performing is a difficult piece.
Okay.
And so perhaps the innovation came in the composing of that piece by Prokofiev.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
so it should be a fabulous concert. And, he's a very talented Korean artist. So I think it'll be interesting.
Another great season,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, congratulations on the season of the piano last year. That was so cool. Is there something waiting in the wings that people should be thinking about for next year?
For this current year, possibly not. But as you may recall, Steve, we did the Play Me, I'm Yours project
Right.
this last season, where we had 11 pianos around Monterey, Salinas, everywhere. We had pianos, and we invited everybody to sit down and play me, I'm Yours.
Right.
And they did. We have great footage on our website from that. We have actually a particular website just for that. People submitted their playing or just, enjoying. We actually had some people go out and play it for us, and people listened. It was great. And so a project like that is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
Especially for an organization such as ours that has a very small staff. So we have decided to perhaps every other year do a community project such as that. And we actually have something in mind
Oh, boy.
for next year.
Okay.
So stay tuned,
Stay
because
tuned.
if we're able to get the funding for it and make it happen, it's going to be exciting.
I'm sure it will be.
It will be something for everybody of all ages.
Okay.
It really will.
Michelle, congratulations on last year's season.
Thank you.
Another wonderful season coming up, and thank you so much for sharing it with us on The Arts Are the Answer.
Well, thank you for having me, Steve, and I hope to see you at a concert this year.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the program, and now it's time to get out and get involved. The arts are magical, but they don't happen by magic alone.
So drop us a line at info@theartsoftheanswer.org or visit us at arts4mc.org. Maybe next month you'll be helping us tell the audience how
The arts are the
answer.
Thanks for watching.